Well, here's a good example of fear, how fear works on you. When I first started making them, I knew I had to go and gift them. I knew nothing about it. I just knew that make them and then go dig a little hole somewhere near a cell phone tower and stick them in the ground. So one night at 11 o'clock, about 15 or so years ago, 11 o'clock at night, I'm driving and I see I knew there was this really nasty cell phone tower. It was just bristling with antennas on it. But I couldn't see any soil or any ground near it. It was all concrete. Excuse me. All concrete. So I had to park the car and think about where am I going to put an Orgone generator in all this concrete. So I didn't even watch where I parked, and I parked in front of a closed computer store with iron bars all over it. This is 11 o'clock at night, and suddenly this car comes, parks right behind me, and it's the local RCMP. And he's wondering, he gets out of the car and he comes to my window. I roll my window down. He says, "What are you doing here?" I said, well, I had to think of something very quickly. I said, I just had a phone call on my cell phone, and I need to park somewhere and get out my glasses and call my wife back. And he looked at me and he was a bit puzzled. He said, "Would you mind opening the trunk? Let me see what you got in the trunk." So I said, no, not at all. So I showed him. I opened the trunk and I had St. John's ambulance kits in there. That my wife was into St. John's ambulance, and there was nothing disturbing there. But beside me in the car, I had a plastic bag full of Orgone generators. But he never asked me about those, because he had asked me about those. Then it would have been an interesting story how this would.
Well, he might have received
develop.
an education from you.
That's right. So anyway. There was nothing that he could do, but he didn't believe me. I knew that he didn't believe me because I was in my dirty, grubby blue jeans, and I looked very grubby, and parked in front of a closed computer store. So he left me alone, and then I got to thinking, why is this happening to me? This happened twice to me when I first started out. It's because I was still in fear. And as long as you are in fear, you are going to attract those elements, those forces you don't want to contend with. They just add to your fear. Fear does not go away. It will just, the universe will supply you with all the fearful things that you can possibly imagine if you stay in the state of fear. Once you go out of fear, it's like the blue sky, the sun shines, you've got nothing to worry about, no black helicopters over you. And that's the other thing. The people who make Orgone generators often say, I've got black helicopters flying over me and I'm worried, and they're fearful about making these things. They're picking me up. I said, no, I've been making them for 15 years. I've never had a black helicopter. I've never been bothered. I'm no longer into fear. I scatter them wherever I do. I don't worry about the cops. No problem, never. But you have to, the trick is come out of fear. Come out of fear, come into your power, everything's fine, the universe will help you.